All right, Josh, why don't we kick it off? I think it's about that time. People are starting to join, so we can get started.
Okay. All right. So, hello everyone. Welcome to tonight. Tonight we are obviously celebrating the 2019-2020 season, having our parent night, and we're also honoring our graduating players who will be taking the next step, as they leave Dusk and go into the world. So, thank you for joining us. Please give us your patience because we're exploring Zoom and we're trying to have this night together, and we might have some technical difficulties if they come up. Again, thank you for your patience, and either way, we're gonna have a great celebration. So, without further ado, President of the club and Chairman of the board, Andy Scruton, is going to present to you now.
Good evening, everybody. Let me check. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Great. Well, welcome to the 2020 Parent Night. I guess it's not going to be like other years. I hope you've got your own cocktails because we're not providing them. It's not going to be an interactive session, but don't worry, we're going to have some interactive stuff in future meetings. We're going to do our best to make it informative and entertaining. I guess the 2019-20 season, how do you describe it? Well, I guess it's the classic game of two halves, right? Each very different. Look, there's a famous Liverpool coach, Bill Shankly. You probably know this quote. He said, "Football isn't a matter of life and death. It's much, much more important than that." And I guess that really doesn't apply because, on a serious note for a moment, we understand and appreciate the wider context of everything that's going on right now and that priorities have changed significantly. We know it's a challenging time for very many of our community. We think there's probably in our community been a range of experience. People have lost family, people have lost friends, people have lost jobs. And we know you're all dealing and coping with things right now. You've got teenagers or you've got young children, and it's all quite a challenge. So I guess the quote that I like best actually for soccer is that soccer is the most important of least important things. So, I think that's our aim for tonight. Our aim is to celebrate the least important of things. Let's celebrate what we have. Let's celebrate what we've built. And first on the agenda, I think we just want to let's go back to, why we do what we do. Let's look at the mission and the core principles which the Dusk is built on. So Josh, if you just flick over to the next slide, particularly relevant in times like this is to reflect on this because we haven't been on the field since March, but that doesn't mean that nothing's been happening. In fact, there's been a lot happening, quite the opposite. I've been incredibly impressed by the energy, the enthusiasm, particularly of our coaching staff. They've been so inventive, they've been innovative. Their dedication is amazing to achieving our mission. Because not being on the field presents massive challenges, but still, we can still maintain the community. We can still maintain the human connection, the team bonding activities. You can do all that still, and they've been doing it, but it takes a lot of effort. And we've been focusing on off the field things, some of the technical stuff, some of the mental, the psychosocial things to make our players better people, one-on-one counseling. So we're still trying to achieve our mission in readiness for when we get back on the field. So how are we doing that? Now let's think about, next slide, please, Josh. It's about a team. And some of you in prior parent meetings have seen this slide before because it's the structure that we've operated under for a number of years. And the key here really is that everyone in the organization makes it tick, makes it operate. It's like a team on the field. And in times like this, it's even more important. Everyone's been working together, we've been covering for each other. You have off the field, people, we can't be in the office, people are scattered all ways. The operations of the club, the planning, the decision-making, keeping connected, resolving issues with all the uncertainty and all the constant things that are changing. That's the challenge. So while we'll talk about some of those things, we all remember that where we're trying to get back to. And it's all happened so fast. If You think, if I just think back to January, we were all on the staffing side in Baltimore. We were at a coaches convention, and we had a staff workshop thinking about all the club new initiatives and all the things that we had planned for this new calendar year. So those have all been shelved, but we're going to get back to those. That's the plan, and it's how to get there. So we have a little video now that we're going to play just as a reminder, I think, of who we are and where we're trying to go and get back to. Thanks, Josh.
Casa abierta de lunes a domingo.
It's a community of positive change.
Un club donde a pesar de tu posibilidad de jugar o pagar, eres incluido.
It's Manhattan.
It's Brooklyn.
It's Queens.
Es el Bronx.
We are NYC.
We cover every season and every way to play.
Celebramos la maestría con el balón y predicamos la actitud positiva. Es todo.
Summer, fall, winter, and spring are filled with smiling faces.
Todos los veranos presentamos este deporte a nuevos jugadores.
And spread the game when others call it too cold to play.
Ser un jugador de DUS no es algo que empieza cuando entras a la cancha.
Being a DUS player is something that you are all the time.
Downtown United Soccer Club está creando un ambiente sano para los jugadores de la ciudad.
The Dusk Way doesn't have a start or stop line.
El Dusk Way significa llegar a los entrenamientos 15 minutos temprano.
It means tracking back an extra 5-yard to make a tackle.
Y ser respetuoso hasta el silbato final.
Whether a preseason training or an 8 a.m. game on a cold Saturday in November, we show up to compete.
What is the DUS Way?
Well, see for yourself. Hey, Kevin, you're on mute.
Hi, sorry. This is Kevin McCarthy, the executive director of the club, and I really just have to say wow to that video. And it reminds us of what our club represents. It is inspiring about what we've been able to do and where we know we will be as we move forward. And so what I'd like to do in the next few slides is share some of our success from our 2019-20 campaign, talk a little bit about how we had to reimagine our programming in March, introduce a lot of our core leaders from the club, from our coaching staff, our technical directors, our committees, and I will move forward. And so, Josh, let's just go to the next slide, please. Great. And we'll play a very small clip. And I'm going to introduce our general manager, Tom Frambach, who's been a great leader with our fields committee. And so if you can see on that left panel, that is Pier 40 as of last week. And it is begging for us to come and play on the pitch, as it has been redone. The drainage has been repaired. The surface is fantastic. And so we've a couple of, I think, very important things, not just the resurfacing, but Tom can tell you a little bit about what our fields committee's done, what you've done in supporting us as a club and connecting with our elected officials and in terms of finding field space. So Tom would be glad to introduce you now to discuss that.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks everybody for joining us. As you can see with the video, obviously it's a little bittersweet. But I think last week, Kevin, myself, and Josh had an opportunity to go to Pier 40 to look at some of the storage units And to be honest, I was ready to run onto the field with the ball and score the first goal on the field. But I was kind of looking around to see if there were cameras, and I decided against it. But it's certainly there and waiting for the players. We're excited to have them back. This is, really kudos to Hudson River Park Trust. They made the decision to resurface this field. Certainly, we've been nudging them for many years, and I think the timing was right, bar COVID, obviously. But it is beautiful, and we're looking forward to that. As Kevin alluded to, there's been some other initiatives and things that we've kind of worked on this past year as it relates to fields. One significant one being Gansevoort Peninsula. And I know we've been involved, and you've seen some communication from us on that. And we're proud to say that Gansevoort is going to be having a full-size field starting in 2022. And really we thank kind of our community, because you signed petitions, you came to the community board meetings, you showed up. And I think that made a huge difference I can honestly say there would be no way there'd be a full-size field if it wasn't for the support of the DUS community. So your impact has been significant in that, so we appreciate that. As Kevin said, we're continuing to move forward on the operational side in programming. You've seen some of the summer camp initiatives come out, which Adam may talk on, but we're also working with New York City Board of Education in partnership with US Soccer Foundation to run after-school programs for kids in underserved communities. So it's tied to our mission for all, and we're thankful that we had the opportunity to work with them to deliver that program. So just some initiatives off the field, many more going on behind the scenes, but appreciate all your support, and thank you.
Well, Tom, thank you. You have been, as I said, a real leader in working with our elected officials, working with HRPT, with Governor's Island, and in rallying our community. And I think that visual is emblematic of where we are as a club too, is that field is ready for us. And we can assure you that the club will be ready when New York City opens up, when it's possible for us to return to play. And so we are as eager to do that, I think, as you and your children are. So I'm also going to ask Adam Norse to just jump on now. He's our director of our rec programs, which went exceedingly well in the fall and winter. They continue to grow. Our surveys continue to get great feedback. So Adam, please tell us a bit about our recreation programs from this past campaign.
You're muted, Adam. Sorry, here you go.
It'll help if I don't, yeah, that might be a good thing for some people, for me. Yeah, as Kevin mentioned, our numbers have increased across the recreation program. But I think that's down to the community, because led from the board and Andy's leadership, we took a step back about 18 months ago, and we went out to the community, because we realized that recreation wasn't growing where like we wanted it to. So we asked the community, hey, what are we doing well? How can we improve? Can everyone hear me? Is that okay? Sorry, I'm getting... Okay, so we had focus groups, and we adjusted a few things. And the outcome of that is this past fall, we had 110 extra players participating in the fall. We had 98 volunteer coaches. We wanted to keep this as a community-led program, which was great. Of over 50%, I think touching 60% were first-time moms, which is great for us. They also make the best coaches, we find. In the winter, we had an extra 50 players, and we had a healthy, oversubscribed high school program running on Saturday nights. So our objective was really to give our high schoolers somewhere to go on a Saturday night. So from 6 to 10 p.m. at Pier 40, we were packed to the rafters with high schoolers. And that is something we want to grow. It's been a great success. Other wins that we had, we want to celebrate. Recently, pre-COVID, but I'm still in contact, and we're often virtual classes right now, is we started a partnership with the Henry Street Settlement, which for those of you that know, is an area down the Lower East Side. So we're looking to serve around 250 players to start with after-school programs, weekend programs, community programs. So that will be starting again as soon as we're back up and running. So a lot of positives on the recreation side. We really want to make it the lifeblood of the club, where academy players are coming back to recreation, playing with their friends. But yeah, it's thanks to the community, the coaches, and a collective effort that we are where we are.
Thanks, Adam. I think that's important. While a lot of people know Dusk through our summer camps, where we have in traditional years, over 1,000 kids come to our camps, and we're our academy, where we have such passion, and we are becoming a leader, not just on the local level or even the regional level, but being recognized nationally for what our academy players and teams are doing. But in many ways, our rec program is absolutely rooted on our community and the heartbeat of our club. And so I appreciate your, not just your summary of that, but your vision for that program and how we move forward. So Josh, if you would move us to the next slide. Excellent. And so we're going to talk a little bit about our Girls Academy from this past year. But first, we're going to have a nice video from our girls technical director with our younger age groups, Coach Keeney. So Josh, let's hit that.
If you even want to challenge yourselves even more, you can be throwing a ball at the same time. Rolling across. I like to make sure we're comfortable with all of our surfaces. Soles are inside, our laces are outside. Hey, Coach Andre from Brooklyn City, how you doing? All right, now I'm going to combine a little outside move with a roll. I'm using my little toe, right? So I'm going out, out, roll, out.
Great. So first of all, thank you, Alex. And we'll show more examples of some of our virtual programming and delivery as we move forward in through tonight's presentation. But I think this is a great example of how all of our coaches have engaged and connected and worked hard to provide not just the technical development, but that connection and the magic of the relationship with their players that they have. And I think you can see that in the Girls Academy under Armand's leadership. And now that we have Alex Keeney joining him as a technical director with the younger age groups, not only do our numbers grow, not only the quality and development of our players is clearly increasing, but the joy, the happiness, the connection, and one of the, I think, best ways to give an example of that is he had, as many of you know, Academy Zoom meetings 10 days ago or so. And the percentage of the families of the Girls Academy that joined was over 70%. And so that's a great reflection of I think the connection that our technical directors, our club, and most importantly, our families and players have together. So we appreciate that. And Alex, I'm going to throw it to you now and just tell us a little bit about some of the highlights with the younger girls that you had in the fall, some of the positive things that you've experienced through this very strange spring season we've had. And once again, thanks for your awesome technical display there.
Thanks, Kev. The first thing I would like to say is a big thank you to the parents for their support, especially during this really tough time. I know it's annoying when Zoom doesn't work or FEMA doesn't work or they can't access whatever homework we've sent them. So thank you. I know we've been very annoying with that stuff, but the feedback that the girls have given us and the results from just watching their technical workouts is such a huge improvement. And it's great to see them go and do it on their own as well. You know, we use the FEMA app and the girls will go with their homework after we've set it for them, and then they'll record themselves and send it right back to us. You know, we see them in their own environment, feeling comfortable, feeling confident, and then we can give them the feedback to help them develop better in their move. So thank you to the parents for all of that. But my first thing that I'd like to say is, you know, I joined this fall, and it's an honour to work for Dusk and be a part of this great community. But what I've noticed is from the fall to the winter, when Dusk enters, we are known now wherever we go. You know, we've been complimented by oppositions, by parents, by people who work in facilities or referees on our style of play and how much technical footwork our girls have. So that's always a great feeling when you walk into to a game and you get them compliments. That's a massive thanks to the coaches that we have on board right now. You know, the growth of the Girls Academy means the growth of our coaching staff and the level of the coaches that we have. So I want to thank our coaches, and I want to say we all can't wait to get back on the field with you guys and face to face and not over a video. So please stay patient with us and we will see you very soon.
Fantastic. Thanks, Alex. So I'm going to ask the architect of the development of the girls program, Arman, to speak next. And Arman, nothing in my mind, and I know we can talk about a number of things, like the wonderful the amount of girls that graduated last year in June and went on to college, the fantastic summer trip that the girls had, where our girls are now getting accepted into higher and higher leagues. But Arman, what to me is the best reflection, besides the increasing number of girls joining the program, is the coaching staff that you've assembled, and the young women that you've invited to join the coaching staff, I think has been an incredible boon to the club. So please talk a little bit about what you perceive as some of our highlights over the last year, and once again, thank you for your leadership in the Girls Academy.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kevin and Alex. You got a lot of fantastic that are happening across the girls program. You know, I look at some of the highlights pre-COVID. You know, we mentioned the record participation, and that really goes down to the programming, and that is the coaching stage. After year continues to evolve, and I think we're in the best we've ever been. When I look at, you know, whole season, haven't had proper league tournaments, the competition that keeps in engaged game, they show after we Zoom and try to, than they were before. I think that speaks to this the staff and the coaches self-specific that we have is just unreal. I could tell you, coach, played as a player before we got we are today, have gone through this. I can't imagine what it could be like, but you guys have demonstrated believable in yourselves and pushing. So thanks to Al. I think we're steps in. This is obviously a celebration as of 20 tonight. Not discount that, but the future looks really bright for us. So a lot of it's because of what they've done. I wish, but we're in a really good place and we continue to move forward.
Awesome. Thanks, Armand. So, Josh, we'll shift ahead to the next slide, please. Great. So, we will talk a little bit about the Boys Academy. Josh, just to entertain our viewers, just please play that clip, which is a little bit of Boys Academy magic.
Should we see it one more time just to give another look?
Sure. Yeah. Viewers, feel free to bring a ball and practice while you're watching.
Well done, I have to say.
Great. So I love these two pictures. They represent a couple of ends of the spectrum of the Boys Academy. I'm pretty sure that's Noah, 2007 player, showing his techers and his wonderful ball skills, and just you can see the joy he has in playing with the ball. And then we have one of our graduating players, Ramsey, playing in a tournament with, I believe that's the Triborough or the Robert F. Kennedy Bridge in the background. And Ramsey is going on to play Division I college soccer next year. So I love those two images, just capturing the essence of the Dusk Academy. And there's no better person to talk about that than, I believe, perhaps the most iconic figure in the club, Gustavo Palomino, who has set the tone in many ways for not just the development, but for the best interests of all our players for over a decade now. And so, Gustavo, tell us a little bit about, in your foundational phases with your age group, I mean, not only do you play in what I think is one of the best developmental leagues in the country right now, and with many of your teams, the D League has grown under your leadership and guidance. So just tell us some of the highlights of your past year with your age groups. Thanks, Gustavo.
Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, great.
Yes.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Right. Well, despite of the challenges, this season has been good. I know we are going through tough times, and looking on the positive side, it has been a season for me of learning and adapting. I have to be honest, when we started the quarantine back in November, I never thought that we were going to be able to run a virtual training session. That thing, the first thing that came to my mind was how are we going to keep 6, 7, 8 years old kids engaged with this new way of training for the next 2 weeks? Tell me if I'm wrong. I believe we are in the 11th week now, right? So, well, yeah. I have to say that I underestimate our players and coaches because their commitment and creativity during this time went above and beyond. For me, this is a real testament of what TUF is about. Even in the most difficult circumstances, when we work together, players, parents, and coaches, we can always adapt and create the right environment. our players so they can keep enjoying and learning the beautiful game. I would like to thank all the coaches, players, and parents for the continued support and commitment. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Gustavo. So this is a great opportunity to pass the baton on to Jose, who is the technical director in our next age groups. And Jose, you could obviously talk about many of the successes that your teams have on the field, a little bit about that transition and what that means for the players in your age group when they come from Gustavo's age groups. And so, Jose, you're up.
Thank you, Kevin. Hello, everyone. Let me just first of all say how proud I feel of our players, parents, coaches, club, our president, board members, directors, of how much we've been able to pull it together, work together in the last 2-3 months of difficult time. And I believe that we all did a great job to support each other and help the situation. And I'm sure we're going to be moving forward with looking for a very bright future. Regardless my groups, they start from U12 to U15s. Obviously, that's a middle age group where the little difference where we start with that we just looking a little more into the competition roles, into a team, tactical, technical situation as well. I think that sometimes takes a little time to teams to adjust, but the coaches have been doing a great job into that. Players have been adjusting well. I believe that we're going into the right direction. We always try to develop individual within the team environment, which is the main thing that we're trying to do. And obviously following that's a philosophy of playing and being on and off the field as well. And so we got a certain nice groups. One of them, I'm very lucky to be coaching the 2006, actually playing MPL, Division 1 and doing very well, the 2007s. So we got different teams, the 2008s that came from Gustavo last year and transitioned into the 99 game and adjusting sometimes initially with a difficult time, but little by little they have been adjusting to the level and to the competition. So I think it's a bright future there. And more than anything, players start understanding more that we're pushing them to compete, to get better every single day. And more than anything, that are open for them to excel and be moving up, even playing up in a year, if that's the case, when we see players that really can step up and show that kind of skills.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jose. So Coach Das, as the technical director for the high school age groups, there's been a lot of success in a number of ways, measured in winning tournaments, etc., but also in, as we'll highlight later, players going on to college. So Das, just reflect a little bit upon the past year with your age groups, please.
So great. Good evening. Welcome, everyone. With the high school age group, U16 boys to U19, we always reiterate we're preparing the players to play beyond dusk. And we're always reminding them of the habits that are expected of top performers and top players. Dusk is great because over 80% of the players do play high school soccer in the fall. Regardless, so our training, we have to adapt our training schedule due to those demands. But this past fall, for the U16 2004 age group, at the 2004 Orange, they were undefeated at the EDP Showcase, and they were top of the bracket for the Massapequa College Showcase. The 04 Blue Team U16, they're undefeated at the Bethesda Showcase. They're top of the bracket at the Massapequa Showcase. The 2003 Orange U17 were undefeated at the EDP Showcase over Thanksgiving. The 2003 Blue Team, they were top of the bracket for both Bethesda and Massapequa. And our 2001 team, they were undefeated at both Massapequa and Bethesda. So we had a lot of strong showings in the fall. It's quite competitive. We had a very spirited winter program as well, and we've carried that all into the online virtual training, which encompasses the full player development from team building, leadership, technical, tactical, and what it means, or making sure that the players, we're preparing them to play beyond dusk and reminding them of the habits that are expected.
That's great, Das. And I think that is a really good summation from when we started talking with Alex about the Girls Academy through Orman, Gustavo, Jose, and then Das. And as you see with the older, it goes through this progression, which is inherent in our club philosophy about the development phase with our younger players as they learn to compete and to play in the dusk way as they go through their middle age groups. And then they learn to solve problems and not just compete, but also to get results and to win and to represent the club. And so, and that's the dusk way. That's the pathway. So thanks for all our technical directors for articulating that. So Josh, let's go to the next group of slides, please. Great. And so somebody who could speak to this in a far more articulate, passionate way is one of our alums, Sasha Weiss, who graduated last year from Dusk, was a Dusk player from kindergarten through high school. He's now at St. Andrews in Scotland, studying economics and also playing for their university team, which plays in one of the Scottish professional divisions. And I think this will be informative and inspiring for our players. So Josh, please give Sasha the platform.
Hello, everybody. Congratulations on graduating. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances for you. I've just been at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland for my first year, and I've been at Dusk since I'm 5 years old. And I was asked to give a bit of advice after my first year of playing in college. And I would say physically, make sure that you are fit. Take advantage of the facilities that you're going to have at university or college. And I'd say mentally, arrive ready to adapt, ready to be resilient in a new team with a new coach who might not fully understand you yet. Be ready to adapt. Tactically, it's the same thing, I would say as well. Be flexible. Understand that you're probably going to go into a new system, something that you haven't experienced, and you need to be ready to learn and just take it all in as quickly as you can. And technically, learn new things with a new coaching staff, with new players around you, of course. But my overall message is also is about not leaving behind what made you happy. Don't abandon your daily rituals. If you've had a ball in your room your entire life and part of what you do every day is juggling, then do that and continue to do the things that have made you good until now. Because or else when you get to school, you might not feel grounded and you might feel like you've abandoned something. So I would really stress, if you've always been an early riser, continue to rise early. There's no reason just because you're at university or college that you should be sleeping in if that's not something you've really done before. At the same time, explore new things and that'll help you also realize what really does make you happy and what doesn't. And I think that's what university is about, and that's really what life is about. Is about finding what makes you happy and holding on to that. And all these things interconnect. If you're not exercising, probably mentally you're going to be doing less well. So really making sure you're hitting upon all of these is important to have that balance in your life. And that's my very simple advice, though it can be hard to do. But again, congratulations, and you'll do great things if you remember to grasp what really matters to you.
Tom, you're on mute. I mean, Kevin, you're on
Coach
mute.
Sasha. Josh, am I on?
You're on.
Great. So yeah, I loved having the honor of coaching Sasha. He's a tremendous representative for the club. So really glad to see him there. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss in this presentation was how we have adapted as of March 16th or 17th to presenting virtual sessions. We've done Instagram live sessions, which are not just for the Dusk community, but free for the entire New York City and beyond soccer community. And we've also done some great sessions with our performance team, which we have a really nice video of Coach Mauricio demonstrating that. So Josh, would you click on that, please?
Slow, keep your position. Okay, get the ball. Stand 1 foot. Five, 4, 3, 2, and mountain divers. Okay, so hands on the floor. 20 seconds and go.
Awesome. So, well, you see Coach Nicole, who's done a few sessions, Coach Mauricio, who has it as well. It's a good example of how we pivoted to continue to provide programming. But one of the things I did want to point out was you could see Mauricio doing his performance sessions. And this is an extension of what the academy players, both in the girls' academy and the boys' academy, started to do during the winter. We had this programming at SO5 up at the Columbia University bubble, where our health and safety committee, led by Coach Mauricio and Rima Siju, who is a Dusk mom, plays with the Dusk Moms and is a former Division I player herself, who introduced these strength conditioning, flexibility programs across our age groups. And we were able to continue to do in our online programming as well. So Rima, I'd like to introduce you and just please tell us a little bit about that initiative, and you could see the evidence of how we've transformed that into our virtual training.
Hi. Yes, thanks, Kevin. So I've been working with Mauricio on developing a strength and conditioning program that can be implemented club-wide. And we decided to do this in order to create a strong fitness base among the players in order to prevent injury and increase performance on the field. The program that we are continuing to develop is applicable to all teams and is scaled based upon age group in different areas. Mauricio and I conducted one of the workshops in February, which I believe Kevin mentioned at SO5 in Brooklyn. And we were slated to do another big one mid-March at the Columbia bubble, which unfortunately was canceled due to the pandemic. So we will continue to work on this with the hopes of implementing as much as possible virtually and ultimately in person. Thanks.
Awesome. So just a really good example of how the entire Dusk community, our coaches, our directors, our committee members in health and safety are all working together to provide the best platform of well-being for our players. So Josh, would you jump ahead, please? And thank you, Rima. So so we are proud. I think Andy alluded to this. I think all our technical directors did in thanking our coaches and our parents for their willingness to engage and connect and to work on making our virtual training as best as possible. And again, we're not competing with other organizations or clubs on this, but we are pleased and proud, especially from the survey that you, our Academy parents, responded to about our virtual training, that told us the most important thing that I think we provide to your kids. And when we asked about how Dusk virtual training was helping your child's well-being, our response, or your response, was almost unanimous in that it was very good or excellent in helping the well-being and health of your kids. And so we also are proud that that was recognized by outside organizations. CNN came to Pier 40 last week. You can see Coach Danny Rodriguez doing a social distancing little session there on the right. But we also have a feature from ABC, which talked with a couple of our coaches and directors and one of our players. So Josh, would you play that?
Thing is just getting the players, regardless of skill level, regardless of age, moving.
Since his 4,000 Downtown United Soccer Club players can't do this, Adam Norris is hoping to motivate them with Instagram drills, live Zoom sessions.
To the inside.
10-year-old Alexa Rotman looks forward to training with her team.
It's like more technical skills and just drills. So it like gets you sweating more. We use cones, like sometimes Bob takes them and like I can run after him.
And Bob is the dog.
Yeah.
For very young players, super.
Okay, good cut, Josh. Yes, we don't. Thanks. And so let's go to the next slide, please. Great. And before I hand this over to our president, Andy Scruton, I too want to thank our families for staying connected with us, for your commitment to the club, and for your feedback and for our partnership in how we move forward to be leaders in not just our club, not just New York City, but beyond as we get through these challenging times. So thank you all. And Andy, please tell us a little bit about our volunteer leadership in the club.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Can you hear me now? I want to check I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Great. So you can see on the slide shown all the different committees that are involved and work with the board. And I guess any organization that's in a transitionary period like we're in now, dealing with the issues we have, leadership and guidance is absolutely critical. And these committees play that role. So obviously I've got to thank my fellow board members and committee members. As Kevin mentioned, it's all unpaid hours of dedication, the work they do. I think a number of the people on those boards and other board and the committees will know about the long Zoom calls where we've been wrestling over difficult issues, sometimes painful, sometimes very memorable actually. But there's quite a lot to be dealt with right now. We've got the planning changes in terms of programs. We've got health and safety changing all the time, staffing issues to deal with, finance, which I'll get onto in a minute, fundraising, which we'll also talk about. Ironically, actually, the one time it's not the field space is not a constraint in terms of what field space we have. It's just getting access to it. So that'll obviously become relevant as we move forward. But you know, you can imagine all areas of the club are active right now in trying to address what we need to address. So let me spend a little bit of time on the finances. I think some of you may be wanting to understand, how we're coping. Look, the key message here that we want everyone to recognize is that we think, as well positioned as we could possibly be in the circumstances. Let's recognize, though, that the financial impact on Dusk will lag the COVID-19 impact in other areas, because we've all seen how New York City is going to open up in early June. Professional soccer is opening up. That doesn't mean youth soccer is getting back onto the field immediately. That's going to follow. So look, those who are into the numbers, we've shared some here. Left-hand side of the page is it's a snapshot of where we were at the end of February. That's pre-COVID, showing you where we were looking in terms of our season, how it was going to play out. We run a lean ship. It's a tight budget. We have a small deficit for the season, but we were on track. And as you heard, all of the exciting things and all of the achievements that we've had over the season. The right-hand side, though, does tell a bit of the story now about what's happened since the impact of COVID. And the message really is we're reliant on the reserves that we built up over the many years prior to this year. And we're also reliant on the tremendous efforts that have gone on since then. So what have we done? Well, on the operational side, the finance side, we've been looking at all areas to conserve cash. We're in cash conservation mode. We've been going back to all the providers of fields. We've gone to the league. We've gone to the tournaments. We've asked for refunds. We've asked for credits. We've asked for money back. We've basically figured out any way we can get cash in. On the expense side, we've looked at all discretionary expenditures that we have, cut them out. We've looked at a way to maximize the amount of cash we've got, and we will maintain going forward. We've also applied for a PPP loan, and we've got it. A week or two ago, we got the PPP loan, which covers payroll for about 2.5 months. So we've done, we think, all we can up to now. Now we're planning, and we're well placed to go into the season. But those that think, if you see on the right-hand side, we've had just over $1.1 million of reserves going into the 21 season. Let's recognize that this is when the financial issues are going to start to hit. Let me give you an example. If you look at the camp income that we generated last year of just over $1 million, just right there, we are, as people are very well aware, not able to run the summer camp at Pier 40 or any of the advanced camps. So we will lose that income. We can replace some of it, but a lot of it is going to be lost. So now is the time we need to find a way to build a bridge. And we're looking to keep as much as what we have has been built at this club intact. We are paying all the coaches. We're paying all the staff. There's no layoffs here. We're keeping the club intact. We will survive. For those of you who don't know, my day job, quite busy right now. I'm a consultant in the restructuring and bankruptcy arena. And what we say when we go into these situations is does this organization deserve to exist? Did it deserve to exist pre-COVID-19? And if the answer is yes, then you just got to build that bridge to get there. So we're going to work together. We need all the community to pitch in, and we need to help us get back on the field, help us become financially stable. So we very, very much help your past support, and we look forward to continuing support as we move forward. So thanks a lot, everybody. I'm going to pass it over to, I think, Alejandra.
Yes, Andy, thank you. I will and Alejandra, excuse me for jumping in. I just wanted to, thank Andy for that presentation, and also just to inform our families that Soccer for All is one of our newest committees, and it ensures that no matter your zip code, your background, your finances, that Dusk will remove those barriers and throughout our programming enable New York City children to play soccer. So Alejandra, I know you'll discuss this briefly and then transition us into Dusk May Giving. And Alejandra is a member of the Dusk board and a number of committees. And so thanks, Alejandra. You can take it now.
Thank you, Kevin. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you, parents, for joining us tonight. I know that it has been intense. We have had many Dusk meetings, and I am very grateful that you made it today. As Kevin mentioned, the club has been very generous with families that otherwise will not be able to pay registration fees. And it is because we have that combination of families, is that the club has been able to support the kids to build their character, reinforcing confidence, responsibility, the right attitude, commitment, resilience, and many other characteristics that are so important for kids to be happy and self-confident. This year, I mean, the pandemic has been horrible and it has impacted the offerings for the club. We will not be able to run the camp as Andy explained to us, and that revenue will not come, right? So the financials that Andy presented included a line on fundraising in the amount of $300,000. And that amount includes $80,000 that we set as a goal for Giving Day. That has been like a giving month. Josh, can you move to the next slide, please? So right now we have raised $39,000 and we still have to raise some $40,000. We have 3 days to go. And I know that we can make it. And the idea is to be able to meet the budget gap without touching the reserves, because we don't know what the future will hold. And we need to have that money in the bank. So we challenged the teams to step up. And here you can see the top 3 teams. And the team that will raise the most will get a dusk mask, which are so handy right now. So I encourage you, that all the families are in the call to step up and donate whatever it's comfortable for you. We would love to get 100% participation, and this is very important for the community to be united and stay together. Thank you so much, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Alejandra. And excuse me, Josh. So we are about halfway to our goal. Alejandra articulated a goal of having 100% participation. That is a goal with our coaching staff, our committee members, and board that we expect to fulfill. And that is, I think, a clear indication of their commitment to the club internally. And so we greatly appreciate you, our families, being able to donate and contribute and be a part of that as well at whatever level is possible. The 3 teams you see on the Team Face Mask Challenge are our top 3 teams. Every team that raises over $1,000, all their players will get the face masks. So, and there are more than these 3 already. I know that Josh is there; they're coming in as we speak. But we do have a few more days, and so we believe that with your support, we're going to reach our goal.
Thank you, Kevin, for delivering, and Alejandra for delivering that very important message, of course. Again, hello, everyone. I was talking at the beginning of the video, and I'm back nearly an hour later. So I'm Josh Krakowski. I'm the Events and Marketing Coordinator. I am going to introduce a video from Gabriela Palomino. Familiar name, I wonder who that might be. She actually is a alumna of Dusk. She played in the girls 2000 Blue team. She's also Gustavo's daughter. And she has a bit of wisdom, just like Sasha, to share with the graduating players as they go on to either starting college virtually or in person. This advice, it's good and it applies. So without further ado.
Hi, congratulations to all the high school seniors graduating this year. I'm Gabriela Palomino. I'm currently a third-year student at NYU, and I'm studying applied psychology. I played travel for Dusk for about 9 years, and honestly, Dusk has been a huge part of my life, and my coaches, my teammates, and the game itself have taught me so many things that I am extremely grateful for. This past semester has been unconventional, to say the least. Your last year in high school was not like that of any others, but in moments that are uncertain, we've grown stronger. I would just like to say that college, at least for me, seemed intimidating at first. But 2 years have passed, and all I can say is that time flew, and I've learned so much. My advice would be to step out of your comfort zone in healthy ways, maybe in small ways first, like deciding to participate during a lecture, or going up to someone who seems a bit lonely to try and start a conversation, to bigger things, like making the decision to study abroad. I went to Argentina for a semester, and I got to meet amazing people, see beautiful places, and experience a culture that was very different from my own. And this was all because I decided to push myself out of my comfort zone. Finally, I'd say, find something that you love that connects you with people who share that passion. I found that for me, soccer gave me the opportunity and the gift of being able to connect with lots of people. I met people in class and in the elevator talking about a game I had just watched, where I met some friends. As a soccer coach, and nearly all the lessons he's taught me, he's made sure to connect to soccer in some way. And although it's a bit cheesy, I'm going to do the same. Playing soccer forces you to push yourself in ways you didn't even know you could. It's in those moments when you think you've got nothing left, that instead of stopping, you run a bit faster, that you're able to grow. It's that moment that you take a chance to shoot or try a new move that gives you the opportunity to surprise yourself of your own abilities. And honestly, that's a lot of what college has been like, trying new things that have made me grow and ultimately made me proud of myself. So it's okay to be a little scared, but don't let that fear stop you from doing something great. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2020.
I think an inspiring note from Gabriella, and great advice whether you're taking the next step to college or just opening another chapter in your life. Getting out of your comfort zone is a great way to live and a good way to learn the world around you. So a great note from our alumna Gabriella. And finally, the moment has come. We have our graduating player slideshow. I've been emailing several parents throughout the last couple of weeks, and thank you guys for sending in photos. So let's celebrate the graduating players and watch the video. once again, that's it for tonight. Thank you again to everyone who joined us, and especially as we honored those graduating seniors, and good luck to the seniors who are taking their next steps. Thanks so much.